I had gone to bed and suddenly I felt myself leave my own body, a very strange feeling. I ended up in a sort of universe, a cosmos where I saw myself as a 5-year-old boy in something that looked like a phone booth. Its color was green. I had a toy with me, a sort of magic wand that I really had when I was a little boy. Then someone flew up to me in a sort of cart and asked me if I wanted to go on a space trip. It all seemed so familiar that I immediately said yes. I climbed in this cart and the person took me to various rooms. The first one had a door, which said past. I was allowed to go in, and as I did, I could look down. And I saw myself as a 5-year-old boy in my mother's garden catching butterflies in a small butterfly net. It seemed and felt so real, and I saw some other things too. I walked back through the door and got in the cart again. We then went to the door of the future. When I entered that room, I saw a large black book on a sort of altar. I went closer and I opened that book. The first page had only one word written on it, and that word was languages. It is evident now that I love to write poems, and everyone says I have a real talent. After that, we went to the room, which said love. I went in, and in the center of the room was a very hazy gray cloud. I went closer, and inside the cloud, I encountered Joke, my first love. And also Lydia, a girl I have lived together with for 3 years. I didn't know what to do there, so I decided to go outside again. When I looked behind me, the cloud had disappeared and all I saw was Lydia standing there. Then the cart dropped me off at the door. Family. I went in, and when I looked to the left, I saw a queue of people starting with my grandma and grandpa. Behind them were a lot of other people. I had the strong feeling that this was my family tree. Looking to the right, I saw my mother, my aunts, their children, and behind them another queue of people. When I went outside, I was asked if I wanted to return to Lanaken. Without waiting for my answer, my mother, who had not been present before this, and I were at the cemetery at Lanaken. There were immensely large persons present at the entrance. Jesus was the largest, then the dull Griot, Belgian historic figure. I also think Hitler was there, and of course the devil himself. Funnily enough, everything my mother and I touched changed into gold, brick, tombstones, etc. There was also a man, jeweler, present who offered us a lot of money for all that gold. Suddenly I was gone from that cemetery and I was being sucked upwards. I arrived in a beautiful place and I had a feeling of indescribable bliss. There were animals, wild ones too, and people who had been dead for a while. Then I arrived at a sort of palace, and it had to be God's house. I went in, but 2 guards carrying shields and lances stopped me. They asked me why I was there. I said, "I'm looking for God, can you call him for me please?" These guards stood in front of a large beautiful gleaming porch, which was set with gems. One of the guards entered the porch saying, "I'll go see if God has time for you." I waited 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour, but the guard didn't come back. Suddenly he returned through the gleaming porch and I asked him, "Is God going to see me now please?" He answered, "Dear Eric, God absolutely does not have time for you yet, so he cannot see you." I begged him to allow me to stay up there, for I wanted to keep the feeling of bliss. But the guard told me, "God gave me explicit orders to send you back to Earth because you still have an important task there." I was a little discouraged by this, but the feeling of bliss was still there. I woke up in my bed in my room. I was crying, but they were not tears of sadness but more tears of joy, very strange. The second time is a totally different story. I woke up in hospital with my mother and emergency room doctors around me. They had also called in a priest to administer the last sacraments. But those experiences I will post on the site the next time. The funny thing is that since my experiences I can feel things about other people, I am very good with the pendulum. I sometimes see people who have died, like my youngest brother Danny, who died, sadly enough, of liver failure on September 3rd last year. I will end this story by saying that my mother also sees Danny a lot, as well as her own mother. My sister sees many future events. I hope I have helped you. Yours faithfully, Eric R. Thank you.